Hello, I'm Mike, and this is the second generation Acura TLX. It's grown quite a bit in size, and obviously it looks different. But the important question is, how good is it? To find that out, let's go for a drive. Most of the cars come with a 2-liter turbocharged engine, like this one, and that engine produces 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque. This 2-liter engine produces more power than the turbo 4-cylinder engines that you'd find in the BMW 330i and Mercedes-Benz C300. Peak torque is well below 2,000 RPMs and is sustained throughout the mid-RPM range, which gives the TLX a punchy feeling of acceleration. However, this little engine has its work cut out for it because this new generation Acura TLX is heavier than the previous model. This A-Spec all-wheel drive trim tips the scales at 1,810 kilograms. The 0 to 100 km/h sprint gets done in about 6 seconds, which is quick, but not as quick as the German equivalent. The only thing that really annoys me about this engine is the way it sounds. In the normal and comfort drive modes, when you accelerate hard, you can hear it, and it's not very pleasant. Switch it to sport mode, and then the stereo starts to pump in some fake engine noises. Thing is though, under certain situations, you can actually hear the actual engine noises over the sound of the fake engine noises. And to be honest, neither of them sound really good. The Germans make much better sounding 4-cylinder engines. But while this engine doesn't sound particularly good, it does return some decent fuel economy numbers if you take the highway very often. It is rated for 8.2 liters per 100 kilometers on a highway, but 11.3 liters per 100 kilometers in a city. However, those numbers are very achievable as currently I am averaging 10.5 liters per 100 kilometers. With this 2-liter engine, you get a new 10-speed automatic transmission. In all modes, as long as you let the transmission do its thing, the shifts are buttery smooth. Most of the time, you won't even feel them. However, if you decide to take over control using the flappy paddles on the steering wheel, it's a little bit on the slow side to react. Even if the car is in sport mode and the transmission is also in sport mode and the RPMs are in the sweet spot, it's still a little bit slow to shift gears. However, even when they are both in sport mode, the shifts are still buttery smooth. Taking the 2021 Acura TLX around a few corners is not really what I was expecting. See, I was expecting a competitor to the 3 Series for $10,000 less. But this new generation TLX just doesn't quite match the BMW when it comes to driving enjoyment on a twisty road. The steering feel is just too light and devoid of any feel. It does get heavier if you put it into sport mode, but it just doesn't feel quite as satisfying as it does in the BMW 3 Series. However, steering response is very good. It is very sharp, and when you're on a highway, on a straight piece of road, you don't have to constantly give it minute inputs just to stay in a straight line. But when you toss it into a corner, the front end digs in, and put your foot down, and that SH all-wheel drive system will just blast you out of the corners. Speaking of which, In Canada, super handling all-wheel drive is standard across all trim levels, but in the United States, it's optional. So you can have the 2021 Acura TLX as a front-wheel drive vehicle only. Overall though, I am a little bit disappointed about the handling characteristics of this 2021 Acura TLX. Like I said, I was expecting a direct competitor to the BMW 3 Series, but the 3 Series still handles a lot better and it's a lot more fun to drive. Base to A-Spec trim levels of the 2021 Acura TLX have standard dampers that are tuned to provide a balance of comfort and more spirited driving. The top spec Platinum Elite trim gets adaptive dampers that can change stiffness depending on the drive mode. However, while this A-Spec demo vehicle does not have the adaptive dampers, it still has a very comfortable ride. Potholes and road imperfections are absorbed very well by the shocks, which makes the Acura TLX an excellent long-distance or daily commuter vehicle. Up here in the front, it's actually very spacious. There is loads of legroom for my 6'4" height and plenty of headroom even with this sunroof. It's not a panoramic sunroof, but at least it's something. In the back, there is less legroom than I was expecting. On paper, the BMW 3 Series actually has about half an inch to an inch more rear legroom than this 2021 Acura TLX, which is quite surprising to me considering that, as I said at the start of the video, this 2021 TLX is actually bigger than the previous generation. But nevertheless, sitting behind my driving position is very tight and quite uncomfortable for long journeys. Back to the front, the interior looks fantastic. I really like their use of leather all across, especially on the steering wheel, perforated on the 9 and 3 positions, and it's really well contoured to my hands. I know not everyone's going to like the flat bottom steering wheel, but for me personally, I dig it. There's also lashings of leather all across the dashboard, on the door panels, and on the center console, and it's really nice and soft, which is what you want. The seats themselves, of course, they are leather, but they also have an ultra suede lining down the center. At night, there's a hint of red ambient lighting, which really makes the interior pop. It's not over the top like how Mercedes has, but for an Acura, it's actually really good. Trunk space is relatively generous at 382 liters, with the rear seatbacks folding 60/40 for more cargo capacity. This A-Spec trim / package is one below the top Platinum Elite trim. It comes very well equipped with heated and ventilated front seats, heated steering wheel, automatic climate control, sunroof, a full suite of advanced safety and driver aids such as adaptive cruise control, lane centering, which is excellent by the way, automatic emergency braking, blind spot sensors, and rear cross traffic alert. It also has wireless phone charging, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity, and a 10.2-inch infotainment system. Speaking of which, the infotainment system has a bit of a steep learning curve, but it's not with the system itself. It's with the true touchpad interface. The 10.2-inch display is not a touchscreen and instead is controlled by a touchpad. But this touchpad is a little bit different than others because wherever you touch on the pad, it correlates to that exact position on the screen. Just a note, if you use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, those systems were not designed to work with a touchpad, and especially one with this true interface. As a result, the touchpad reverts to a more traditional control layout, and it can be frustrating to use with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This A-Spec all-wheel drive trim of the 2021 Acura TLX costs $49,905 Canadian dollars, which is roughly the same as the starting price of the BMW 330i xDrive. Although the 330i has roughly the same starting price, the BMW does not come as well equipped as this Acura. You would need to add a lot of packages and standalone options to have the same features. Now, as I said in the video, I was expecting the Acura TLX to be a direct competitor to the BMW 3 Series, but for $10,000 less. Unfortunately, it just doesn't really feel that way. I am really disappointed in the new TLX. I was expecting a much more sportier driving experience, but in terms of luxury and comfort, it really delivers. However, would I actually buy it? No, to be honest. I would probably buy the BMW 3 Series, and maybe I'd even consider the Genesis G70 in terms of a sporty, premium luxury type of sedan. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you like this new TLX, or would you take the 3 Series, or maybe the Genesis G70? Let me know in the comments. If you want to know more about this 2021 Acura TLX A-Spec, I wrote a more detailed review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck, or it'll probably be an SUV next time. Yep. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.